Nick Aldis signed a contract to fight Gunther at SummerSlam. Buried in the fine print was a clause nobody expected. The second he signed it, he wasn't SmackDown general manager anymore. Minutes later, Gunther put him through a table anyway. Welcome back to Wrestling Canva. Tonight's SmackDown from Oakland delivered one of the biggest developments yet in this entire saga, and it changes the entire power structure of the Blue brand heading into SummerSlam. The show opened with Pearce overseeing an official contract signing between Gunther and Nick Aldis for their SummerSlam match. Before either man signed anything, Pearce laid out the terms clearly. Once Aldis put his name on that contract, WWE would bear no responsibility for whatever happened between him and Gunther at SummerSlam. And there was a second, bigger catch. Signing the contract meant Aldis had to relinquish his position as SmackDown general manager immediately, with Pearce taking over the role permanently. Think about what that actually means. Aldis didn't just agree to a fight. He traded away his job for the right to get his hands on Gunther personally. Aldis didn't hesitate. He signed the contract, giving up his authority over SmackDown in the same motion that locked in his SummerSlam match. That's a genuinely significant character choice. A man who spent 3 years running an entire brand deciding that settling this personally with Gunther mattered more than keeping his desk job. Once the contract was signed, Gunther stepped into the ring and got personal. Aldis didn't back down either. He told Gunther directly that he'd finally run into someone who wasn't going to back off, no matter what Gunther threw at him. That's when it turned physical. Gunther struck Aldis with a low blow, then followed it up by powerbombing him straight through a table in the middle of the ring, right after everyone had just watched him sign away his own job to get this fight in the first place. If you want every twist heading into SummerSlam, tap subscribe. I'm covering it all. This isn't a temporary situation anymore. Every previous time Aldis stepped away from the GM chair, it was framed as administrative leave or recovery time, with everyone expecting him back eventually. Not this time. Pearce is now the permanent SmackDown general manager, on top of his existing Raw duties, giving him full control over both brands heading into WWE's biggest show of the summer. That's a massive shift. Pearce isn't just filling in anymore. He's now the one authority figure standing over both shows, right as this Gunther-Aldis rivalry reaches its boiling point. Here's why this decision actually makes sense from Aldis's perspective. As general manager, every response he had to Gunther was filtered through rules, fairness, and his position of authority. He could suspend Gunther, book matches against him, even personally interfere like he did at Saturday night's main event. But he couldn't just fight him directly without giving up that neutral position. By signing this contract, Aldis stopped being an authority figure trying to manage Gunther from a distance. He became a competitor with nothing left to lose, free to settle this the only way that's clearly mattered to him since Gunther first put his hands on him. Gunther choosing to powerbomb Aldis through a table immediately after the contract signing wasn't random either. It's the same level of violence he's shown throughout this entire saga. The car door attack on Cody Rhodes, the 4-time chokehold on Aldis himself. Gunther's making it clear that giving up his authority hasn't made Aldis any safer. If anything, it's removed whatever restraint existed while Aldis still had institutional power protecting him. Tonight's show also featured Cody Rhodes and CM Punk in one final face-to-face confrontation before their undisputed WWE Championship match at SummerSlam. Punk insisted he remains the best in the world, while Rhodes promised to reclaim the spotlight on the sport's biggest stage. The confrontation stayed verbal, but neither man held back with personal jabs, adding even more tension to a rivalry that's already been simmering since their accidental title strap incident weeks earlier. With Aldis no longer holding any institutional power, Gunther versus Aldis at SummerSlam is now a completely clean, personal grudge match with zero authority figure protections attached to either side. No suspensions to threaten, no GM powers to lean on, nothing but two men settling something that's been building since Night of Champions. That raises the stakes significantly, because whatever happens in that ring is now the entire resolution to this story, not just one more chapter in an ongoing power struggle. Here's the risk for Gunther in all of this. Every time he's escalated against Aldis, Aldis has found a way to counter him, whether through suspensions, stipulations, or physically costing him a title opportunity with a belt shot. Now that Aldis has removed every institutional advantage from the equation and staked everything on a straight fight, Gunther's facing an opponent who's shown, over and over, that he doesn't back down regardless of the cost. Powerbombing him through a table tonight might feel like dominance, but it's also exactly the kind of thing that's fueled Aldis's motivation every single step of this entire saga. Nick Aldis just traded his job for one shot at Gunther in the ring, and Gunther responded by putting him through a table before that shot even arrives. Do you think giving up his authority actually helps Aldis at SummerSlam, or did he just make himself an easier target? Tell me your prediction in the comments. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.